Before anything in your life changes on the outside, something must change on the inside. Long before success shows up as money, recognition, or freedom, it is formed quietly in the way you think, the decisions you make, and the standards you accept when no one is watching. Two people can start from the same place, face the same struggles, and live in the same conditions, yet end up with completely different lives, not because of luck, but because of how they think. This is not a talk about motivation or temporary inspiration. This is about the invisible psychology that shapes every result you experience. If you've ever wondered why some people rise no matter where they start, while others remain stuck despite effort, the answer lies here. What you are about to hear challenges comfortable beliefs and exposes mental habits that silently control your future. Stay with this message until the end, because understanding the difference between rich thinking and poor thinking may be the single shift that changes how you see yourself, your potential, and the direction of your life. Control of thought determines control of life, because every action, reaction, and decision first takes shape in the mind before it appears in reality. What a person consistently thinks about becomes the lens through which they interpret circumstances, judge opportunities, and define what they believe is possible. When thoughts are left unmanaged, they are shaped by fear, past failures, social conditioning, and the opinions of others, causing life to move on autopilot rather than by design. Poor thinking allows external events to dictate internal states, meaning moods change with situations, confidence rises and falls with approval, and decisions are made emotionally rather than intentionally. In contrast, rich thinking is the practice of consciously selecting thoughts that align with growth, purpose, and long-term vision. It understands that the mind is either a powerful tool or a dangerous master, depending on who is in control. A disciplined thinker does not deny reality, but chooses empowering interpretations of it, transforming obstacles into lessons and setbacks into feedback rather than excuses. Over time, repeated thoughts harden into beliefs, beliefs influence habits, and habits shape results, making thought control the true starting point of personal power. When a person believes they are capable, resourceful, and responsible for their outcomes, their behavior naturally reflects confidence, persistence, and creativity. On the other hand, thoughts of limitation quietly sabotage effort, causing procrastination, self-doubt, and withdrawal before real failure ever occurs. Control of thought also governs emotional stability, because emotions follow interpretation, not events themselves. Two people can face the same challenge, yet the one who controls their thinking sees opportunity while the other sees defeat. This mental discipline separates leaders from followers and creators from complainers. Life does not respond to wishes or intentions alone. It responds to the dominant mental attitude repeatedly impressed upon the subconscious through focus and emotion. When thoughts are aligned with clarity and purpose, decisions become sharper, actions more decisive, and persistence stronger during adversity. Without control of thought, even talent, education, and opportunity remain underutilized, drifting without direction and producing inconsistent outcomes. The individual who masters their thinking masters their reactions, choices, and standards, shaping not only what they achieve, but also how they experience every aspect of life. Definite purpose is the dividing line between rich thinking and poor thinking, because it gives direction, meaning, and structure to effort, while aimless desire scatters energy and produces confusion. A definite purpose is not a casual wish or a hopeful idea. It is a clearly defined intention that becomes the central focus of a person. Ends thoughts, decisions, and actions. Rich thinkers know exactly what they are working toward, even if the path is not fully visible, and this clarity allows them to measure opportunities by relevance rather than emotion. Poor thinking operates on vague desires such as wanting success, money, or happiness without deciding what those words truly mean, resulting in constant motion with little progress. When purpose is unclear, distractions feel attractive, excuses feel reasonable, and quitting feels justified because there is no strong internal reason to persist. A definite purpose acts as an internal compass, keeping the mind steady during uncertainty and pressure, while aimless desire collapses at the first sign of difficulty. Purpose transforms effort into persistence because it attaches meaning to sacrifice and struggle, making temporary discomfort easier to endure. It also sharpens decision-making because rich thinkers ask whether an action moves them closer to their purpose, while poor thinkers react to convenience, fear, or immediate pleasure. Without purpose, the mind becomes vulnerable to outside influence, easily swayed by opinions, trends, and circumstances, causing constant shifts in direction and identity. A clear purpose repeatedly focused upon impresses itself on the subconscious mind, aligning habits, attitudes, and behavior toward its achievement. This mental alignment creates consistency, which is the foundation of extraordinary results. Aimless desire lacks this structure, causing enthusiasm to rise and fall depending on mood or motivation rather than discipline. Rich thinking understands that purpose does not eliminate obstacles but gives them meaning, while poor thinking sees obstacles as signals to stop. Over time, the individual with a definite purpose develops confidence rooted in direction, not external validation, while the person driven by vague desire remains uncertain, frustrated, and dependent on circumstances for momentum. Responsibility is the mental shift that separates rich thinking from poor thinking because it determines whether a person holds power over their life or hands that power to circumstances. Rich thinking begins the moment an individual accepts full responsibility for their results, understanding that while they may not control every event, they always control their response and direction. This mindset eliminates the habit of blaming the economy, upbringing, luck, or other people, because blame offers emotional relief but removes the ability to change outcomes. Poor thinking relies on excuses to protect self-image, using external factors as justification for stagnation and unmet potential. Each excuse quietly reinforces the belief that success is dependent on forces outside one's influence, weakening initiative and self-trust. When responsibility is avoided, effort becomes inconsistent, persistence fades quickly, and improvement feels optional rather than necessary. In contrast, rich thinkers treat every outcome as feedback rather than failure, asking what must be adjusted, learned, or improved. This approach keeps the mind focused on solutions instead of problems and growth instead of comfort. Responsibility also strengthens discipline, because when results are owned, actions become intentional and standards rise naturally. A person who accepts responsibility no longer waits for motivation, permission, or perfect conditions, recognizing that progress is created through action taken under imperfect circumstances. Poor thinking delays action by justifying inaction, while rich thinking moves forward despite uncertainty. Taking responsibility does not mean self-blame or harsh judgment. It means honest evaluation and commitment to change. This honesty builds confidence rooted in capability rather than excuses, making resilience stronger during setbacks. Over time, responsibility develops leadership qualities, even in personal life, because the individual becomes dependable, decisive, and solution-oriented. The habit of responsibility reshapes identity, shifting a person from victim to creator. Life begins to respond differently to those who take ownership, opening opportunities to those who demonstrate reliability and self-direction. Without responsibility, potential remains dormant and effort stays reactive. But with responsibility, the mind becomes proactive, focused, and empowered to shape outcomes deliberately. Long-term vision is the mental framework that separates rich thinking from poor thinking because it governs how a person values time, effort, and sacrifice. Rich thinkers understand that meaningful success is built gradually through consistent decisions made with the future in mind, while poor thinking prioritizes immediate comfort, emotional relief, and short-term pleasure. When comfort becomes the primary goal, discipline feels painful and persistence feels unnecessary, causing people to abandon effort the moment it interferes with ease. Rich thinking willingly delays gratification, recognizing that temporary discomfort is the price of lasting freedom, stability, and self-respect. This mindset allows individuals to work without immediate reward, trusting that consistent effort compounded over time produces results that shortcuts never can. Poor thinking, on the other hand, seeks quick wins and instant validation, often trading long-term progress for short-term satisfaction. This creates a cycle of starting and stopping, excitement followed by frustration, and effort without momentum. Long-term vision strengthens patience because the individual measures progress in growth rather than speed, understanding that mastery and achievement follow natural timelines. It also improves decision-making, as rich thinkers ask how today's choices will affect their future circumstances, while poor thinkers decide based on how they feel in the moment. When challenges arise, those with long-term vision see them as part of the process rather than signs of failure, making resilience a natural response. Poor thinking interprets difficulty as proof that the path is wrong, leading to quitting or constant changes in direction. Long-term vision also creates emotional stability because progress is evaluated over months and years instead of days, reducing anxiety and impulsive behavior. The ability to delay gratification is a form of self-leadership, allowing the individual to prioritize growth over comfort and purpose over pleasure. Over time, this discipline compounds into confidence, skill, and opportunity, while short-term thinking remains trapped in cycles of effort without lasting results. A future-focused mind builds foundations, while a comfort-focused mind consumes what little progress it makes. A growth-oriented mindset is the foundation of rich thinking because it determines whether a person sees life as expandable or limited. Rich thinkers understand that abilities, intelligence, income, and influence are not fixed traits but capacities that can be developed through learning, practice, and persistence. This belief creates curiosity instead of fear and effort instead of avoidance. Poor thinking operates from a fixed identity, believing that people are born with a set level of talent and that circumstances define permanent boundaries. When challenges arise, this mindset interprets difficulty as evidence of inadequacy rather than an opportunity for development, leading to withdrawal and self-doubt. A growth-oriented thinker views mistakes as information, not judgment, using failure as a teacher rather than a verdict on self-worth. This allows progress to continue even after setbacks, because the focus remains on improvement instead of protection of ego. Poor thinking seeks safety in familiarity, avoiding risks that might expose weakness, while rich thinking seeks expansion, knowing that discomfort is the price of growth. This difference affects how feedback is received, with rich thinkers using criticism as guidance and poor thinkers taking it personally. A growth mindset also reshapes ambition, making success feel attainable through consistent effort rather than reserved for a select few. It encourages skill building, adaptability, and resilience in changing environments, while a fixed mindset resists change and clings to outdated methods. Over time, growth-oriented thinking builds confidence rooted in competence rather than comparison, reducing envy and insecurity. Poor thinking measures self-worth by external validation, while rich thinking measures it by progress and learning. This mindset influences daily habits, pushing individuals to read, practice, reflect, and improve instead of repeating comfortable routines. Life rewards those who evolve, and a growth-oriented thinker remains relevant, capable, and prepared for opportunity, while a fixed identity gradually becomes outdated, fragile, and constrained by its own beliefs. Decisive action is the behavioral expression of rich thinking because it transforms ideas into results, while hesitation keeps potential locked in the mind. Rich thinkers understand that clarity is created through movement, not endless analysis, and they are willing to make decisions without waiting for perfect information. This willingness to decide quickly is not recklessness, but confidence in their ability to adjust, learn, and correct course as needed. Poor thinking delays decisions in the name of caution, often disguising fear as logic, and this delay quietly erodes opportunity. The longer a decision is postponed, the more doubt grows, making action feel heavier and riskier. Rich thinking accepts that mistakes are part of progress and that inaction carries a greater cost than imperfect action. Decisiveness builds momentum, and momentum strengthens belief, creating a cycle where action reinforces confidence rather than waiting for confidence to appear first. Poor thinkers often wait to feel ready, unaware that readiness is a result of action, not a prerequisite. Decisive action also reflects self-trust, the belief that one can handle outcomes regardless of how they unfold. This trust allows rich thinkers to commit fully instead of keeping one foot in retreat, which weakens effort and persistence. Once a decision is made, rich thinkers persist, adjusting strategy but not abandoning the goal at the first obstacle. Poor thinking quits quickly, using early difficulty as justification rather than feedback. Decisiveness sharpens focus by eliminating mental clutter created by overthinking and indecision, freeing energy for execution. It also communicates confidence to others, attracting support, opportunities, and leadership roles. Over time, decisive action becomes a habit, strengthening discipline and resilience, while chronic hesitation becomes a pattern of missed chances and unrealized potential. Life rewards those who act with conviction, and the psychology of decisiveness separates those who shape their circumstances from those who remain stuck waiting for certainty that never arrives. Rich thinking and poor thinking are not defined by background, education, or circumstances, but by the mental habits a person chooses to practice each day. The difference lies in control of thought, clarity of purpose, acceptance of responsibility, long-term vision, commitment to growth, and the courage to act decisively. When these principles come together, they reshape identity, behavior, and results, proving that transformation begins internally before it ever appears externally. A disciplined mind creates direction, persistence, and resilience, while an undisciplined mind remains reactive and limited by fear and comfort. The psychology that changes everything is not complex, but it is demanding, requiring awareness, consistency, and belief backed by action. Those who adopt rich thinking stop waiting for permission, stop negotiating with excuses, and start building lives aligned with purpose and intention. As thinking, G changes, standards rise, choices improve, and opportunities expand, making success a natural outcome rather than a distant hope. I wish you the courage to think beyond limitations, the discipline to stay committed to your purpose, and the strength to act even when the path feels uncertain. May your thoughts work for you, not against you, and may every decision move you closer to the life you envision. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to invest in your growth.